I am not God.
You are definitely a part of God. God is in all things.
Well,
And here
again,
I say
mhm.
this.
Go ahead.
I,
Go
I
ahead.
I say this for a reason to challenge that, right? And because again, what we're talking about, humbling ourselves, and we're talking about seeing ourselves in everything, in everyone. And that's for me in the sense of why it is important for me to humble myself, because everything God has put in front of me, God is meant for it to be there. And if I accept that God is always working there in my life and whatever, then I have to humble myself to all things. And yes, all things will benefit from my humility. And so for me, because God is in everything and whatever, that's why I have no issue with humbling myself to the moment. I'm not humbling myself to that thing. I'm humbling myself to God. That there's for me of making again, we are embarking on, or what I think a lot of people may not understand is an esoteric explanation when we're sitting here talking about the way. And this is not going to land for everyone. If you haven't decided to really go deep and have this type of curiosity, then these types of things that we're talking about are um, just going to fly right over your head. It's not going to land. And so I say that I wrote something down as you were talking about to say about a Jehovah's being a Jehovah's Witness is what's more important as a question to be a Jehovah's Witness or a witness of Jehovah?
Witness of Jehovah. Again, I see them as the same. But go ahead.
Well, that was the point. But
Uh-huh.
that's the point. You see it as the same because you are an esoteric teacher. You are an esoteric Jehovah's Witness. You aren't an exoteric teacher or an exoteric Jehovah's Witness. You see past the veil. And so when we talk about people sort of kind of being misguided, here's why I want to make this yogic distinction. Because God exists in two places for me. God exists in the world and God exists in my heart. The issue is that between my heart and the world is the veil. And many of us mistake the world and our hearts as the veil, and we don't look to match them. So, matching my heart with the world is my humility. That's what drops the veil. So, this understanding of humility, of being able to sit down and shut up, which was a big, hard thing for me to do, I think it is all of our struggles. I think I know what's best for everybody else because I feel like I know what's best for me. And when I think that, I become arrogant, I become puffed up. And this is what we see in religious supremacy, what we see in political supremacy, that people think that they know what's best for everybody else. And so when we come back to it, it's like what made Jesus this great teacher was his humility, was his love, was his acceptance that God was in all things and in all people, not just in those who had this book or that book or this understanding or that understanding. No matter what or who you were, again, a spark of God. And it's that piece again of where when I come back to religious supremacy, this is not what is taught. There is, again, for me, the reason of why Europeans would see it to be so important to include the Old Testament is the religious or the egoic supremacy that existed within the tribal understanding of the Hebrews. There was a reason of why, again, within God's law, God's work, that they weren't a successful civilization. They weren't able to bring together people in harmony and in love. They always stayed in war because of the egoic roots of their spirituality. And it might not even be fair to say spirituality, I'll say their religiousness. And in that, they fall. And then you want to, or let's say again, in the defense of my own ancestors, then it wants to be said that my ancestors did not have God, despite the display of love and harmony over thousands of years. Not 100, not 200, but thousands of years. They showed an ability to become unbalanced, come back to their spiritual teachings, and now regain balance. Three times over within the Kemetic understanding of intermediate periods, these people rose and fell. And again, of what is this thing that sits behind me, the symbol that sits behind me is Maat. This is about that humility, about that reciprocity, about that truth, about that balance. This is in a sense of understanding the feminine and the masculine, getting into a deeper sense of esoteric teachings that we must find balance within ourselves, within our identity, our masculine, and within our heart, our instinct, our emotion, which is our feminine.